Our assassin is given a new assignment. A smuggler named Durbin has been caught and will soon be magically interrogated by a paladin. This must not happen, and the hit should not look suspicious lest the paladin investigate the death. He starts his assignment by getting a room at the sea shanty, a local inn. He rolls some candles flat into sheets before leaving and visiting the local brothel called the Mermaid's Kiss, where he makes contact with some of the local thieves and gathers some information about the area and the people who hold keys to the dungeon. He learns that Grace, the captain of the dock guard, is bumping heads with the cleric Reginald Silver about running the docks, and Portia Moore is the harbour master, a single lady who lives nearby, and he also gets a map of the dungeons. He then heads over to the dockmaster's house and uses Sophie to lure her son out of the house. With the child distracted by the cat, he sneaks into the house and examines the lock on the door and practices picking it before leaving and saving Sophie from the attentions of the 4-year-old. He returns once darkness has fallen, breaks in, makes a mould of the dungeon key on his wax sheets, and returns back to his room. Using the mould, he finds the right set of lockpicks he would need for the lock. The next day, he buys some fancy silk rope and also some old used rope. Next, he checks in with Ripley, his watcher, and runs his plan by her, and puts the last step of his plan into action by going fishing near the guard barracks so he can listen to their voices and names. While fishing, Reginald Silver shows up, and they exchange some pleasantries, giving our assassin some time to study his voice and speaking pattern. And as night falls, he returns to his room one more time to prepare to execute his plan. The first phase of which is getting pretend drunk and arrested for a fray, which goes off without a hitch. Once he finds himself in the drunk tank, he quickly escapes from his cell, and he starts his search for his mark through the dark dungeon. He finds his target with no trouble and garrots the hapless smuggler before he even knows what's happening. He stages the body to make it look like a suicide. With his dark deed done, he heads back to his cell. The next morning he gets tossed back onto the streets with the rest of the drunks, and he returns to the sea shanty. He settles up his tab and goes to see his watcher to confirm the deed is done. She seems slightly concerned about the kill, but is satisfied nonetheless. She also gives out the next target, none other than Reginald Silver, the cleric. Will there be any repercussions from the Durbin job? How long will our assassin remain in Malchus's favour? How easy will the cleric job be? Let's find out now on Assassin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Assassin. Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. So like I said, I think our audience is really just too intelligent, good-looking to fall for mindless flattery. Oh, they're here. Hi, hi, everyone. Welcome
to Assassin. Yeah, we can just forget about what we were saying before the show. How's your week been since we last saw you, Rob? Life?
It's been one of those weeks. Interesting, but thanks to clinical confidentiality, not interesting at all.
I get that a lot from my wife, who's doing clinical counseling, or in school for it, and lots of like, what, sweetie? Nothing.
You wouldn't believe the day I had. What happened? Nothing.
Nothing happened at all. Ever. I certainly didn't learn something interesting about a person I know. No, that's never happened. No. So, are you ready to assassinate someone today?
I'm always ready to. even outside the context of this game. It's just good to be prepared.
Yeah, it's just good to be prepared. That Fallout style future is always ever present and ever lurking, or the danger of it is. You should always be ready for the whatever it's going to take.
Absolutely.
So we are going to start off today back in that bar taverny area, up halfway up the cliffside that we saw last episode. That is where you are meeting Ripley, your watcher, and your mission assigner person.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of you are meeting up there in the tavern. She's not dressed as a bard anymore. This time she's dressed as a simple peddler of wares who's taken a break after hawking everything that she can in the city streets, and is now resting at a bar with a beautiful view of the outside. Bar is not too terribly crowded. It's maybe 20% full. The two of you just happen to be sitting at a table without anyone else at it. A great view of the windows. Out.
Okay, I imagine. Get up here. Is this bar? Is it an inn too, or just a tavern?
It is an inn. There are a few inn rooms here, not many. Like 8 or something. And they're a little bit pricey since it's got it's the nice bar with the nice view. The rates here are a little bit higher, but that doesn't necessarily prohibit them from. So I don't actually have a Ripley token. I'll find one, but you two are sitting right where you are on the map, hanging out. She looks over to you and says, good morning, man of the island.
Say good morning, and I continue to pet Sophie.
I've got a simple secret, says for you with a knowing look and a double meaning words.
Well, I'd be curious to find out about such a simple thing.
There is a man named Reginald Silver, the most noble of clerics, and he has made his home down by the docks. Or did you know that already?
I've had words with him.
Oh, well, maybe this isn't such a simple secret after all. He's been down there cleaning them up and setting things in order. You know how those clerics of Astaire, god of law and order, like to do. And it seems that all the smuggling down on the docks has come to a grinding halt, and no imports, she says, kind of giving a quick glance around to make sure no one else is listening, or exports can be sent or received. I hear they've really been cracking down on the, specifically the smuggling of toxins, venoms, poisons, and other potent potables.
Well, then definitely the Thieves Guild must be concerned about that.
She gives a half-hearted shrug. Suppose it's really none of my business, if they're being affected or not.
Well, it's just good to know that such a nefarious group is being hindered in their, let's say, business.
Yeah. It's doubly effective too because those potables are they're a little delicate. Some of them, they lose their potency if they sit around for too long, or if the temperature gets too high. And really, moving them by ship is the only reasonable means of getting them to market in time for them to still be effective.
Yes, well, like I said, that's bad news for the Thieves.
tell me, you're familiar with the viewpoint of Astaire, the god of law and order, right?
I kind of thought dancing was in there somewhere too, but a bit.
Well, Astaire is the one who believes that the best thing for people in life is to have a framework within which they can thrive. Structure and organization paves the way for greatness, and preservation of order is paramount to success. It's really such a wonderful and interesting idea, so opposed to his brother and counterpart, Malchus, god of chaos. You know, those people believe that order breeds predictability and complacency creates weakness.
Well, what I find is when people create order, they usually mean an order that benefits themselves and puts people they dislike or find distasteful or disagree with lower down the order and blame it on them. I mean, the order is impartial.
Is that why you're here? You feel that higher-ups in the social order have caused problems for you?
I just see that claims of those who impose order and their actual intent are often quite at variance. And feel that those making those claims and imposing that order could stand to feel a bit of what people further down the line feel.
He nods her head a few times and stares out over the ocean, before coming back into the conversation, saying, "So anyway, Reginald doesn't see things the way that you do, or the way I do. He's of the other mindset. He joined the clergy somewhere in his mid-20s, straight from his noble family ranks, and served as an acolyte for about 5 years before becoming a full cleric and joining the Order of Astaire, where he's been, maybe a decade now, 38 days, 5'7", 158 pounds, big plate armor, shield, staff with a scepter of light. Can't miss him.
Yes,
sorry.
I just said yes. We had lunch.
Good. And that information that she's giving you has got another set of, I wouldn't quite say double information, but in this world, first level clerics generally are acolytes and kind of generalist, and it's when you hit your second level that you find your particular calling. I mean, some people come in with a calling at the ground level, but most people sort of join the clergy and then find their own person. So by saying that he was an acolyte for 5 years and has been a full cleric for some time after that, lets you know that he's at least second level. And if you want to try and do some math and figure out how long he's been a cleric for, maybe you can get some vague notion of what level, but kind of up to judgment. So our mission for today will be simple and secret. He's not going to know it's coming, but he can't know. No one can know that it's happening. He's at least second level, and I think that's all the information you know about him right now. Other than, of course, what he looks like and where he has lunch every day, which you found out last week.
Mm-hmm. Which may be all I need to know. We'll have to find out. It's better to have more information than less.
Wow. So, you guys sit for a little while longer. Is there anything else you wanted to ask her?
No, I've got... aside from any resources for this.
She will produce another mixed bag of coins. This one with 5,000 copper. value of 5,000 copper, but, mix of gold and silver and copper. Keep it variable. And kind of sets that down on the bench between the two of you, while you guys look off into the open waters.
All right, I will light of hand that up. And once our business seems to be concluded, I'll say, well, probably best I secure a room before, any other travelers come by and take them all.
Be a good idea. We've got time on this one, she says, glancing about quickly. Got a score of days to take care of it. Nothing too pressing.
Yes, that gives plenty of time to do. Perhaps I could learn a profession, maybe construction.
My, that seems like a handy trait.
Yes, it'd be good to know how to build things, how things are held together, what keeps them from falling apart.
Well,
You'd be surprised what one frayed rope can do to an otherwise sturdy-seeming construction.
there's a reason we call ourselves the architects, says, as she gets up and makes for the front door.
All right.
And you are left to your own devices. You've got 20 days to make it happen, so let's see how it goes.
All right. I'm going to first. I'm going to go up to the bartender here, holding on to Sophie,
Mm-hmm.
and just petting Sophie. Bartender, how much is a room here? Private one.
Gold piece a night.
That's pretty steep. What do I get for that? Is there a meal involved or more?
Yes, sir. Breakfast and dessert. Well, evening dessert, couple of beers, couple of pints, and morning breakfast. And the best damn view from the common room in the world.
I can't argue with that.
Mm-hmm. We do have just a couple rooms with windows that overlook the ocean as well, or overlook the canals as well, if you'd like those, but they're triple rate.
Ooh. I was going to be splurging just to get the at a gold piece. I can't afford triple.
Well, you can't afford the gold, though.
Yes.
Oh, come on in.
Okay. Once I get up to my room,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to set Sophie down. I'm going to stow my my bow and rapier. I am going to get a bowl of water. And it's time to shave my goatee since I'm full of sea smell around this town.
Oh, no.
Well, it'll grow back.
The whole thing? Or are you just going to do the bottom? Are you going to leave, like, the mustache? Or are you just going to whole thing down?
I have to do the whole thing down here since everybody knows me since I already left. If I suddenly show up again and everyone's like, "Thought you were leaving."
Yeah.
Hey, weren't you hanging around here before?
All right.
Like I said, it grows back. I could be a different person. I could be the same person who's back in town later.
As a matter of curiosity, how quickly does your character's goatee grow in? Is that artwork we have of him like a month of growth, 3 months of growth, a week?
I don't know. I mean, I can get one going in 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how lazy I am. Stylish. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Stylish. Got it. Okay. So you shave it down. Not a problem.
yeah, I mean, the part of the reason to have it was so that people would focus on that, and then when he needs to disguise himself, just shaving it off would be enough that. Because I figured a lot of people, they focus on a detail,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they remember. I was just noticing in the office where I've been working since last September, I noticed this big painting of a flower, and I was like, until this moment, even though I've been through this office, I don't know how many times, if you'd asked me what painting there was in there, I would have said, painting? So the goatee draws attention.
Mm-hmm.
Take that away, and the other features might not be so memorable.
Well, it's a quick thing, and the goatee is gone. Long live the goatee. And now you find yourself up in that tavern with plenty of time on your hands.
And I am going to change up my outfit here. I'll wear something. I'll find my oldest, most raggedy clothes that I've got.
Find your oldest, raggedy, most revealing clothes, and are ready to head down to the docks, maybe? Maybe not?
Almost. I take the satchel of now 10 copper pieces from around my neck and lay the coins out on the table. Finger them a bit, weigh each one, select one, roll it around a bit. Say, Alexandra. I'll put the rest back in their bag. I'll flip that one a couple of times, and then I'll tuck it. I'll tuck that one into the bag too.
Alexander is tucked away safely. Sophie is meowing aimlessly at a wall.
So, Sophie, we'll just have to see about getting you some more fish. Luckily, I know where that can be. They can be found. Yes, the local kids never had it so good. Well, I must be back later. And time to head down to the docks.
Okay. Down you go and find yourself right on the docks. It is a beautiful, bright, sun-shining day down here. Skies are clear, the winds are quite still. Terrible for shipping, wonderful for just walking around and enjoying yourself.
Okay. No, and I just have one dagger hidden as far as weapons. I don't imagine I'll need...
No short bow, no rapier at your side.
Just the dagger. Just...
No pocket ballista. Do you really need it on this mission?
I might want to frame the dwarves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, alright, we got the pocket ballista, but the rapier and the short bow are home.
Yes.
Good.
Well, Neil, I think it's about time for our first notice from our new sponsor for today.
We have a new sponsor?
Of course. Neil being coy. Of course we do. Special for today. For the 4th of July. M80s. M80s. The reason there's a non-zero number of Americans who can count to 10 today, but won't be able to count to 10 tomorrow.
Yes, do be careful with your fireworks today, everyone. I mean, you should always be careful with your fireworks, but, like, double down on it today, please. God. So glad that we've got an M80 sponsorship. I haven't played with those since I was a small child, and I shouldn't have been allowed to play with those when I was a small child, but...
You mean using them responsibly, Neil?
Sure, yeah. If that's what you call letting 10-year-olds in Texas throw M80s around.
All right, Texas, that makes sense. There was a 4th of July where my whole clan gathered up in at a motel in Oregon because it was all the city California folk and the rural Oregon folk all gathered there, and you could definitely tell because there were so many of us. We basically took over this whole motel, so we felt we could on this 4th of July just kind of take over the parking lot to make our own fireworks display with just an absurd amount of fireworks that have been brought in by all the Oregonians. And you could tell the difference because all us Californians were like holding he's like, no, kids, you want to be back like at least 20 feet because then you can see the entire firework thing. Yeah, back here. And the Oregonians are like, Tyler, that one fell over. Why don't you? It's got a few seconds left of the fuse. Why don't you run over and put it back up before it goes on? It's just, we're like,
oh, it's so dangerous.
We're just all as Californians, just like I want to stop them, but their dad's telling them to do it.
Oh, yeah. Everywhere I've ever lived has had like severe fire hazards. Like it's always been dry, deserty, flammable places, and so I've never, except for that one summer I spent in Texas, I've never been in a place to actually be able to play with fireworks.
I kind of feel like Texas is dry and brush fiery, but they would stop fireworks for that reason.
Yeah, and I was visiting with friends, and they had like a lake house with everything was very green there. I don't know if that's because they watered it constantly or it just happened to be a green part of Texas. But it was always green and wet and everything.
I wonder if like the entire European part of the audience is like, the heck are they talking about with M80s and all this stuff?
Maybe. But I guess they'll just have to figure it out. Oh. It's too much culture to catch them up on. Culture.
Yes. Well, we're talking about something you're reveling about having it in Texas. So I think they can deduce that an M80 is some sort of weapon or explosive.
Yeah, not to be confused with like an M1 or an M16. This isn't a really big gun. It's a very small explosive. Fireworks is what we like to call them, but they're really just small bombs that you give children to play with.
Well, yeah, that's basically part. That brings us to our second endorsement for M80s. M80s, the largest amount of explosive you can freely distribute without being arrested for aiding and abetting terrorists.
That is an interesting take on it. You know, I've never really thought of fireworks as just explosives that you hand around, but that's really what they are.
Yeah, it's just an amount of explosives we've decided is safe to give to kids.
All right.
It's about freedom, people. If you can't see the connection between giving explosives to children and freedom, then nothing I can say is going to make it make sense to you if you just can't see it yourself.
I mean, we say that jokingly, but there's a certain amount of truth to that. A certain amount of... Oh. Anyway. Assassin, Docs, you're here somewhere. Let me give you a token to move around if you need it. If you don't need it, you don't have to move it. Whatever. So you're down here on the docks, beautiful sun shining day. There's ships out in the canals, just kind of bobbing up and down in the little bit of waves that are out there. Once again, there are a pair of guards that are walking the city streets here, along the docks. Same sort of guards that you saw last session, I should say. They just kind of move in their pair, walking down the docks.
Let's see, which was the guards station?
That would be over,
that over here.
Red one to your right, to the east.
Okay. So I am gonna go. Well, I'm not gonna buy the fish before I take care of my tasks. So first stop is, what was it? The Mermaid's Rest.
Mermaid's Kiss?
Mermaid's Kiss. Mermaid's Rest is from Baldur's Gate. I don't know. Alright. So I'll head over to the Mermaid's Kiss. I will just get something to drink. Just spend a little time sitting around. Making conversation with sailors, with locals, and I'm starting to thread into the conversation, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes into a conversation with somebody about other things. Like, there was this fellow was like dressed to storm a castle or something, wandering around the docks, and started telling me something about a ladder or a stair or something. What's going on there? Is he a crazy person?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like grappling hook and rope and like swords and like ready to storm a castle, or what do you mean?
He was like fully dressed like a knight, just armor, and I don't know. He just looked like he was about to attack something. With all his armor and weapons and things.
You mean the Reginald Silver? The cleric?
I don't know. Does he look like he's a knight? Talk about stairs or something?
Astair, the god. The god of law and order. One of the big 7.
Oh.
The big 4 even. Come on, you know who Astair is.
I don't know. I never counted the gods. There's 7?
No, there's like, 36 or 26, but you got the big 7. Astair, Flumbra, Malchus, Martha, Nadinus, Tempus, Verasi. Kid, did your mother not teach nothing? Look.
Do they move up the brackets or something, or is what makes them the
No. There's 4 major gods, right? We got Astair, god of law and order. How the hell do you not know this stuff? It's common knowledge. Every kid knows that. Astair, god of law and order.
I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to have some background exposition for the audience here.
There's his sister, Verasi, goddess of death. She's a mean one. And then their brother, Malchus, the god of chaos and change. And then their other sister, Martha, the goddess of life. Right? So they're the big 4. They sit one in each of the seasons, hanging out. And then Nadinus sits below the world, holding the staff of the world up. She's the goddess of nature, as you should know. And above the world is Tempos, the god of fate and time. And he spins the staff that Nadinus is holding up, which turns the world, which is why, the constellations move, right? And then there's Flumbra.
So he's spinning whose staff?
The staff that supports the world. The staff that holds up the world. The world, the staff, the elemental planes, the gods, the constellation. You're pulling my leg, right?
He's spinning his own staff.
Is this a prank? Are you scrying on me right now? Is there like a scrying orb somewhere? What's going on? Anyway, and then there's Falumbra, right? The goddess of spirits. She gives up a part of herself every time something is with a soul is born and we all return to her, personified by the moon. You know?
That sounds painful.
Well, then I'm not even gonna bother launching into the other 20-some gods in there. It just sounds like it would be too complicated.
Well, it sounds like I've probably heard enough to get an introduction to the religious environment of this world that would be enough just to give a person who didn't know any of this at all a little understanding of what's going on.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I was able to help in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. Well, thank you. Yeah,
See,
so what's his deal?
Well, Astaire's deal, or no, you're Reginald's deal. Silver?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, High Castle docks have been notorious for their,
Fish?
civvy nature. You know, a lot of things leak through them. And a couple weeks
So
ago...
they need to be retired.
A couple weeks ago, someone tried to murder a guardsman down here, and I guess that was the last straw. Reginald came on down. Sorry. Lord Reginald Silver, cleric of Astaire, says rolling his eyes, came down with a self-expressed mission to clean up the docks and make it a safe place where there could be no more crime or smuggling or murder or anything like that. And kind of thought he was just full of hot air, but damn if this place hasn't cleaned up. You know, the number of bar fights has dropped by 90%. Dungeons used to be full of people in the drunk tanks every night. Now, 2 or 3 at most. He's done a remarkable job out here. He's also committed to it. He rented out a small shack that used to be an office or something, and literally lives down here now. I don't even know if he ever goes back up into the city. He's committed 100% to the cause, and it's showing real improvement.
Down here, I didn't see any place around here that looks like a noble would want to live here.
No, maybe he didn't put on those robes just for show. Maybe it's not, just an act.
Where's a noble living around here? There's nothing here that I would.
You wouldn't believe. It's not. It's like a 15 by 15 foot hut. It's not the sort of establishment a noble you would expect to live in. But he's a man of the cloth now, and he's a good guy. You know, he's really, really doing a good job and living the frugal life. And I mean, sure, he's got a seaside view, but he's also living in a tiny hut down by the docks full of rowdy sailors and working all day, every day, except for lunch and dinner and breakfast and, afternoon tea and sleeping. But you know what I mean. It's good.
You said his family name is Silver. How did they get that? Do they own silver mines or?
Yeah. Generations back they were big into the silver mines. I think at this point they own a bunch, a little bit to the north of here. What's that area called? Like in the Hemderkos Hills, That's where most of their silver is, but I think with their expertise, they're probably got a hand involved in every single silver mine in the country, in the kingdom. Even if they're not directly owning it, their experience and knowledge with it goes back generations.
They made their wealth in silver. Well, I guess we all can't be lucky enough to discover silver mines and get involved in them.
He gives a shrug. I don't know. I've never seen a silver mine before. In fact, I've never seen the inside of a mine ever. Have you?
I don't know. I hear they're Here they're not so good.
You
Tough
tell.
life, what I hear. Well, I don't know. You work without seeing the sun. You go in before the sun's up. Not out till the sun's down. Stars as close as you can be to a bright day.
I guess that could be kind of tough, never seeing the sun. But it's probably worth it. I mean, you know, you're working a silver mine. You gotta be wealthy.
Do you? I think it's the person who owns the mine.
I mean, yeah, but if you're working in a silver mine, you're probably paid better than someone working in a coal mine, right?
Are you paid?
He looks at you as if he's all of a sudden unsure of many things he's taken for granted his whole life. Wouldn't you be paid? I mean, I guess if you're a captured soldier, thrown into chains and enslaved, you wouldn't be paid, but that's, you know, that's your own fault for being a soldier, being captured.
Yeah, that's true. Those miners, whatever put them into the mines is probably their own fault. They must have done something to get thrown down there into the mines, working without sunlight.
Yeah. Working in a coal mine. Going down, down, down.
Yeah, well, thank you for the information.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the conversation in a different direction. I'll end up debating with him the existence of dragons. I'm going to say they don't really exist, just to give something so ridiculous that that's the part of the conversation he remembers instead of the hysterical.
First you pretend you don't know the... Well, of course not. But I haven't seen any of the gods yet. I know they still exist.
So maybe the dragons are like the gods. You never see them anywhere, and people just assume they exist.
Look, we all know there is a gold dragon living in Stormscale Lake right near Stromheim. I mean, it's like 200, 300 miles from here.
You've seen it.
Well, I haven't seen it because I've lived in High Castle my whole life, but...
Who's seen it? Who's seen it?
No, okay, none of us have seen it, but come on, we don't live in Stromheim. But I got a cousin, and he went to Stromheim once, and while he was there, he met this this local girl, and she says that her dad once was fishing down by Stormscale Lake and saw the dragon show up out of nowhere. So I got an eyewitness who's definitely seen it, and, I mean, come on, the queen takes counsel with the dragon, and her family, her parents did, and for generations back they've been
You've seen that happen. You have. You know people who've seen the queen meet with his dragon.
I ain't never seen anyone mine gold, but I know that gold miners exist.
Because you've seen gold.
She's just like, what? Dragons don't exist, huh?
I could just say that there's a three that I happen to know that there's a three-headed troll in Confluence that sings operas. He sings all three parts and then he does the chorus. Now
I know you're pulling my leg, but I want to see that act.
I do too. Now you've never seen that, but you've never seen the dragon either, and you believe in it.
It's because there's a bunch of them. They're all over the place. They have names. People, look, Nixium is the gold one, and there's the Mist Dragon way over by Rockwave or Redport. There's like a town over there somewhere, a city.
The three-headed trolls. Each of their heads has a name. There's Larius and Movius and Curly Gavilis.
All right, but you got to admit that at least Zorthis exists, right? Because they named a whole river after her.
Zorthis?
Yeah.
If I wanted to make a name that everyone would know it was fake, Z is definitely the letter I would
It
start.
starts with an X,
Zorthis?
my friend. XOR, Zorthis.
Oh, then you know it's fake.
What, Xavier doesn't exist either? Is he not a real person?
Have you ever met someone named Xavier?
My brother's named Xavier. You watch your tongue now.
Oh, I didn't know.
See? So
Then
dragons
maybe-
do exist.
Well, I mean, maybe your brother exists. I'm going to take your word for it. You're a witness. You've seen him. Have you ever seen the Zorthis?
No, because she hides in the overgrowth.
Oh, she hides.
Well, she doesn't have any more wings anymore.
Gigantic dragon the size of a castle. But, is she behind that tree? Maybe behind that sheep over there.
Look, I couldn't expect a non-traveled, non-educated person like yourself to really understand. Clearly, you don't know anything about the overgrowth because it's filled with giant trees. That's why they call it the overgrowth, man. It's because it's overgrown. And Zorthis Snag is the river they named after her, next to Valara, in Matava, in the south. Get a load of this guy. He doesn't believe in dragons. Wait till one burns down his house. Okay, clearly you must have heard...
Has that happened to you?
Please, I don't own any property.
Have you ever known someone whose house got burned down by a dragon?
No, but that's because Nixium's been protecting us all here. Look, why don't you head over to Mystria and deal with Scoria over there, huh? She's taken over the entire kingdom of
So is
Mystria.
there some rule that every dragon's name has got to end with an A or something here?
Zorthis doesn't end in an A, that ends with an S.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Hydroxys ends in an S. Nixium ends in an M. Are there any other... Nixium? Nixium.
Nixum? I don't know. That sounds like a crook.
She is not a crook. She's a beautiful gold dragon that's been watching over Eridon for generations. Uses her influence to steer the country towards goodness.
So we can look outside and we're like, oh, whoop, there she is, looking down on us.
All right. You know what? But you've heard of Scoria, right? The Scourge of Mystria has conquered the entire kingdom, and they all pay tribute to her, running them into financial ruin. The only mithril mine in the world is basically controlled by a red dragon. Production's been altered.
So basically, somebody's extorting a large group of people.
A dragon,
You
big,
sure this is the Thieves Guild?
flying red dragon runs the kingdom now.
Oh, you've seen this one.
You know, I can't.
But you've seen this is a port.
You know what? I know who the
Lots of
three-headed
things.
troll is. It's you. You're the three-headed troll. And he slams down his drink and storms off angrily.
I don't know. If I didn't know better, I'd say that guy was off to popularize the use of troll as a verb instead of a noun. All right, so definitely he's not thinking about my questions about Astaire anymore.
Oh no, he's boiling with rage over your ridiculous claims that dragons don't exist. It's just insane. It's insane. They totally exist.
It's like Slash. Slash. Everybody knows who Slash is.
Who's Slash?
Guitarist?
Oh, okay.
But have you ever actually seen him?
No. I
But
also
we all
can't even remember
know-
what band he's from.
Interesting. And yet we're all sure he exists. But no one's ever seen him.
I'm sure someone has seen him. I trust that someone has seen him.
Uh-huh. You trust that someone has seen him.
Otherwise, how would we know his name? Huh? How would we know about him if he didn't actually exist?
When you think white
I
whale,
got it.
you think what name?
Ahab.
So he exists then. Ahab was a real person.
You know what, Rob? I just can't deal with you today. I haven't finished my coffee yet. Just can't deal with it.
Is that what's in that jar? I thought you were like drinking some kind of spoiled preserves.
No. It's really hot here in Boulder. It's like in the 80s and 90s all summer. So I tend to make coffee at night and put it in a jar and throw it in the fridge. So that way it's cold coffee by morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, the way around that I've found is to live in Santa Barbara where the weather is beautifully temperate all the fucking time.
Well, yeah. I would love to live in Santa Barbara once more. We all would. But it's not always an option. There's a... Yeah. We're here in Colorado for school. Otherwise, I would be happy to be in Santa Barbara. Perfect temperature all year round, people. Those of you that don't know Santa Barbara, it's like...
Yes.
It's amazing. I love that place.
It's just good zoning laws.
Good zoning laws. That's a good...
Yeah, they just zoned for the temperature. And
it's under its entire, what's that spell? Lehman's Tiny Hut. It's Lehman's Tiny Hut over the whole town. Temperature's always right in the perfect range.
Exactly. It's just well written zoning laws because you can go just a short distance away. There's Lompoc, which sucks.
Bakersfield, L.A. Right. Where crap and diarrhea.
Yeah, but the temperature, Santa Barbara, just always beautiful. Anyway.
That's enough. Making me miss my hometown.
Yes. This brings us to our next sponsor, the Santa Barbara Tourism Board.
Come on down to sunny
Santa Barbara Tourism. There's no such thing as too many Germans in shorts and sandals walking around with cameras out.
Don't forget the Parade of Lights every year on the boats down by the water, and the fantastic fireworks shows that you can see from the mesa or down on the beach. And don't forget yearly wildfires. They'll threaten your homes, they'll threaten your lives, they'll threaten your animals. Come back next year for more.
Yearly, Neil. I think you're forgetting
Monthly.
the year we had 3.
Yeah. Now, with new and improved mudslides, destroying properties since 2018. Okay.
Why watch the movie Day After Tomorrow with living it?
Okay. It's been about an hour. We've done absolutely nothing. We've gotten nowhere. We're going to take a break because we've been having a good time and it's about time for a break. When we come back, we might start the campaign or maybe not. We got 12 weeks. It'll be fine. We'll see you guys on the other side of our break. Bye-bye, everybody.
Our assassin is given a new assignment. A smuggler named...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Assassin while I choke on coffee grounds. Welcome back to Assassin. So we're down on the docks. You've spent better part of a day in a tavern arguing about dragons with a person. And what are you up to now?
Eventually, I'll wander outside with a mug of ale. I'm gonna kind of mess up my hair a little bit, become a bit more disheveled, and I is conveniently just a short distance away. Am gonna go sit dejectedly on the docks, sort of there behind the guard area.
Right over there?
Yep. Sitting there, my feet hanging off the right there on the edge. I'll try to get there before lunch.
Quick look at what's going on around you. So as you walk through this area, I think to even get back here, you have to like walk through this building.
Oh.
Yeah, or you'll have to walk through the guard building itself. This one, yes, maybe this area is not so accessible. This building here that I'm pointing at is where it's Captain Grace's apartment and offices and everything. So this would be the place where the captain of the guard lives and works. These are the rooms for the regular guardsmen. This is the Morning Glory tea shop over here, which is attached to the guards' rooms and also to this little out section. Over here, what is this stuff? Let me check my notes. That is... I think this is just like warehouse storage of various kinds. So you might be able to slip through here and come out onto this dock, or go through the tea shop and come out over here. I suppose you could try and walk through the captain of the harbor guard's house, but it might be problematic.
Okay, yeah, I guess I just sort of assumed you could go between these buildings, but I guess there's actually a space there.
Yeah, there's a little gap. I guess you could try and run and jump over that. It's not that far. It's 8 feet. As long as you've got at least 8 strength, you can... At least 9 strength, you can jump it.
I think there's even like, isn't it like 3+ strength or something?
I think it's your strength score in feet, if you have a running start.
Alright, well that's a little too obvious for someone just randomly carrying around a mug and trying to collapse, so...
What is this, the Drinking Parkour Olympics?
I'd watch that.
Actually, that would be a really fun sport to watch. Someone's got a mug of beer, and they have to like run to the end of some sort of course, jumping over all sorts of things, and then when they get to it, they have to down it as quickly as possible without spilling any.
Why isn't that an event?
That sounds like a great sport.
I bet Germany would be really good at it.
If it was wine, the French would be the best. They have the best parkourists out there. We could have, you could have different events. You could have like, a little shot glass for one, a big tankard for another, like a glass of wine for another one.
That would make the selection of which city's going to host the Olympics a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because certain cities would have different size glasses and different drinks that they put in. Or maybe there's like multiple
I was just thinking
stops.
of the terrain where they'd be parked throughout the city.
Oh yeah. And maybe there's like pit stop, like it's not quite like a relay race, but there's various pit stops where you get to this point, they measure how much you have left and you have to drink it, and then you go to the next, to the next, to the next, to the less that you spill, the more you have to drink, which makes it harder to go forward, but then you get more points, and the people who kind of spill might be able to make up their points by being more sober for the rest of the run. God, this should be a real sport.
This would be. Can you imagine like how cool watching the last part of the course would be? When like half the people, when like all the best athletes are just completely blitzed, and the worst ones that aren't as blitzed are trying to leverage that ability to get back up. That'd be a nail biter.
This would be fantastic. All right.
You know, I think I'm just thinking, Neil, if this doesn't work out, dear parkour league, you, me, we kickstart this thing.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make it happen.
And we could kickstart it by actually kickstarting it.
We could literally Kickstarter it, and it'd be great.
Tell me people aren't going to want to kickstart
Drunken Parkour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
That'd be like one of those where we'd be on the news, because that would be like the one that like reached $5 million in one day.
Yeah.
Which would only, get us more donations.
It would be great, and I think it'd be very quickly picked up by any sort of syndication or broadcasting. I think there's some real money to be had in here, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, only if this doesn't work out.
Right, only if the D&D stuff doesn't pan out.
I mean, this could easily just like skyrocket, go way past any of that.
If any of you want to start the I don't have a name for this thing yet, but if any of you want to start this league, go for it. Just give us producer credit on it, and
10%,
10%
each.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Merchandising,
we get merchandising also.
10% of merchandising, of tickets, just everything. You just 10% off the top, pre-tax. Anyway. Let's try and get something done today.
I would argue that we have. We just invented the most popular new sport in the world.
Yeah. Anyway. Sorry, I'm getting lost thinking about this. You want to find a spot?
I kind of feel like you want to compete now, Neil.
I don't like drinking that much, but I do love running around and jumping over things. I could compete in the amateur league. I could do that. Or the, after work league.
That's like you're doing it with Coors Light or something.
Oh. All right. Let's try and get back to D&D.
What was this show called again?
I swear this is supposed to be a bloodthirsty show about assassinating people. Right. So where are we? We're down by the docks. You find a spot. Where are you? All right. So you can't get to the.
Yeah. Apparently, none of the places where I was just going to randomly be sitting to see this guy are really reachable.
Well, just one of the places isn't.
Yeah.
You could make it over here, no problem, and you can make it
down
here.
Over there? So I'd have to go through the buildings.
Yeah, you'd have to go through the buildings. I might draw a little attention if someone who knows who owns that building sees you there, but dock's a dock, a wharf's a wharf. Wharf rats are everywhere. People hang out wherever they can.
How about over here? Is it fairly easy to step from where the rocks go down onto the dock?
I didn't see.
Is that a believable path for a drunk person?
Well, I mean, there's like a 3-foot gap. It's not believable. Yeah, you can make your way over there somehow.
All right, I'll go sit on the end of that dock then. Feet dangling off.
Excellent.
Sing my mug.
All right, so you have found your way down there.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Although, that sounds like a good start for the drunken parkour.
Can you jump the 3-foot gap from the cliff to the dock while
Without
holding
spilling your beer, yeah.
Yeah. You want to give me a dex check to see how much of your beer you spilled?
You know, this guy would actually be pretty good at drunken parkour.
Give me maybe an athletics or an acrobatics instead of a dexterity, because that's not quite actually the right combo. Oh, Rob. I think
spilled it all over myself.
Just everywhere.
Oh no, that does not enhance the look I was going for at all. How is he going to believe that I'm a drunken down on my luck sailor with beer spilled all over the front of me?
Even when he fails, it benefits his character. All right. So you're down on that section. Let's bring your little token over here. And you've got maybe a third of a beer left while you're sitting out the dock. And sure enough, lunchtime eventually rolls around, and a certain cleric kind of shows up. Let's get him all the right layers and everything. Shows up over here, walks on down, heads to the tea shop, comes on out over here and sits down on his favorite stool with his tea, and then kind of frowns and grumbles to himself, looks over to you and says, "Is that your boat?" As pointing to the one at his feet.
I look like I own a boat.
Stupid. You know, I thought this dock was... whatever. Raise me a stare for having everyone in their proper place, even if this one boat is docked improperly. I'll find them later.
Docked improperly?
No one's supposed to be docking their boats here. This is the tea shop place.
Then why does it have a dock?
To sit on and get in the salty, freshwater, brackish air.
That would be a balcony. A dock is to tie a boat to.
Not every section of the dock is meant for boats.
I think that's kind of the definition of a dock. It's meant for boats.
But only some sections in the proper place where it has been authorized for people to tie their boats. If people can just tie them up anywhere, how are we going to inspect them all? In fact, I should probably take care of this right now. This could be another smuggling attempt. He looks at his tea, kind of tosses it in the water, grumbles to himself, and heads back into the tea shop.
So what you're imagining is that somebody here is smuggling in tea.
Gives a look over his shoulder at you and says, "Nothing," and then goes back into the tavern, to the tea shop.
I'll call over. Why don't you protest this? Why don't you just like go onto that boat, just go on and take all the tea and just throw it into the harbor. Just throw it into the harbor. It seems like a fine day for it. Just take all that tea and throw it into the harbor.
You can hear some talking from inside, and eventually Reginald comes out with a sixes, and a guy, just a regular old sailor person, kind of dirty clothes, doesn't look like he's particularly wealthy. And Reginald's out here looking at the boat and pointing at it with him and saying, "Look, you can't just park your boat here. I got to inspect everything on it now. I'm, as the cleric of Astaire here to make sure that nothing illegal's going on. I'm going to have to take a look at your wares, anything that you've delivered to the tea shop, and then I'm going to have to fine you 10 silver pieces for improper docking. It's procedure that keeps us safe, my friend." And so the two of them go through everything on his boat, opening every bag, emptying it out, and putting it back in. And then fines the guy 10 silver for parking his boat in the wrong spot. And then
100 copper?
Hey, without a clear set of rules, we all fall into chaos. And the rules say no boats get parked right here.
The rules say you can't dock at the dock.
What'd you say your name was?
My name's Alexander. Alex.
Well, Alexander, I happen to be an authority on right and wrong, and let me tell you that yes, in this particular case, you cannot dock that boat on this dock. The gods will as such.
Well, Mr. Staircase, I am a sailor and happen to be an authority on boats and docks. And I tell you that docks are for boats, docking, and
Are you drunk?
Fishing.
It's,
And docks are for drinking too.
it's barely noon. How are you drunk already?
It's really easy with beer.
Tries to slow down his breathing. He closes his eyes, and you can see his lips moving as if he's speaking to himself. Then he opens them and picks up some cucumber sandwiches and a little cup of tea. Sips his tea. Tries to ignore you. Look out over the ocean. See the big ships bobbing out there.
You ever have Cavalier Guest cucumber sandwiches? Really good.
I've never had his cucumber sandwiches, actually.
He made a full, just because he's Justin, he made a full, everything you can imagine, the most amazing English tea for us for New Year's Eve. Just finger sandwiches, like everything you read about in The Hobbit, like boom, there it is. Set out on his meal. Anyway, Cavalier Guest for your catering needs. I'm going to refer to him by his Twitch name, Justin by his Twitch name, so that it's Twitchier. Okay.
Right, so Reginald is trying to ignore you and enjoy his lunch without some drunkard so-and-so giving him trouble.
Okay, I'm sitting there. Nursing my beer, just sort of staring into the water. I am going to try to look. Would this be deception or acting or whatever? I'm trying to look very pensive and kind of give a meaningful sigh and just sort of look down at the water as if searching for my soul in it somewhere. That'd be a charisma roll.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I heard sitting, and then I was reading notes, and I missed your question. I'm sorry.
No. That's okay. Go back to your notes. The game. We'll put this game on hold.
What? I'm sorry. One more time, Rob. Just making sure I had all the information necessary for the session, and then totally, missed the session.
Completely. No, I understand. Things happen. You come into a game unprepared, and then you're just trying to sort of make it up as you go along. No. I mean, I get it. I get it. We can't always be prepared for the thing that happens every week at a set time.
Right. All right. I'll just go back to my notes then.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll think of something else about M80s.
I don't know if I'm bold enough to join the army. Litterbug. Okay, alright.
M80s, the most fun you can have with a number without subtracting 11 from it.
Alrighty, buddy. There we go. So you wanted to make a charisma check to look at something about Reginald?
No. I'm just looking pensively into the water, that as if looking for my soul somewhere there in the dark depths, as if something is disturbing me and
Yes.
is taking me down.
Yes.
I give a bit of a sigh. Close my eyes, as if in a bit of pain. An emotional pain so intense that I feel it on a physical level. Take it off. No. Go back to staring into the water. My hand clenches, relaxes, clenches a couple of times there at my side. Do we put that under deception? Do we?
Sure. I guess that's a deception roll. You're trying to deceive him into thinking you're having a deep inner moment when really you're just trying to fool him? You're not actually having a deep moment here, remembering Alexander?
And that seems like acting, and acting gives me a
advantage when you're trying to be somebody who you're not?
Yeah. Take that. Videos that have claimed actor is like one of the worst feats.
Thank God for your advantage.
Yes.
Wow, those are not great rolls today.
But I mean, what reason does he have to be like, I wonder if this drunk is really just pretending to have things wrong in his life? I bet his life's going pretty well.
Yeah. So he makes no real looks at you or signs at you. He just kind of goes about his lunch for an hour or so before getting up, stretching it out, and heading back into the building.
Okay. Well, if after 15 minutes or so, if he's not saying anything, so much for caring for the poor. He just wants to go around finding people. I'll say, what use are the gods, Adam? Service stare, but what use are the gods? To give you authority to go around finding people? On.
Oh, you say this while he's still there, before he leaves?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought you were saying this to yourself after he left.
No, after 15 minutes of him not trying to see what's troubling this poor person on the docks.
Okay, so you give your comments, and he'll sigh heavily and look over to you across that 10-foot gap and say, listen here, buddy. I don't want to hear one more word out of you about this boat on this dock or this fine. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself a disruptor of the peace. You're going to spend some time in the dungeons here. And as for your blasphemous and heretical speech about what use are the gods, well, I'll give you a warning on that one. But don't you go be slinging that sass around here. Not in front of me.
Well, then tell me what they're for, then.
They created the world. They created everything on it. And they control our fates and destinies. They are the very essence of our life.
Yeah, they control our fates and destinies. They give us this. They do these things to us.
Looks like you did what you're into yourself. Looks like you got yourself into your current drunken state of a mess. You can't blame the gods for being a drunk.
I look over at him as if just trying to control myself. I'm not the one who caused my daughter to drown. Don't you dare blame me for that.
Sometimes bad things happen to good people. You just gotta live with it and move forward.
And you said it's the gods that give these things to us.
Don't go try and blaming someone else for your own problems.
You said it. You said it was the gods. You said the gods give us our fates. Gods decided that. It was the gods who took Laura from me.
Well, maybe if you had taught Laura how to swim, she wouldn't have drowned. Maybe you should have taken better care of your child and kept a closer eye on him.
I'm a sailor. I was taking care. I was doing my job. I was getting money. I got her a doll and I don't know, I give the name of some port or something. I saved up. For months, I didn't spend any money in the taverns or in the brothels the way the other sailors did. I was saving up. I got that doll for her and I came back. She drowned 3 days after I boarded ship. All that time she'd been dead. That's what the gods do with our fates.
You're misplacing your anger here, son. It's not... We all sometimes want someone to blame.
You said the gods control our fates. You're the one who said it.
We're still in charge of our lives. They'll give us fate. They'll pull the strings, but it's up to us to walk around and do the work. They can...
I was doing the work. I was trying to provide for her.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
I take another pull from my mug here. It's probably empty at this point, but I'll go ahead and pretend.
Hmm. What was your name, son?
Alexander.
I'm Reginald Silver. Cleric of Astaire, he says, tapping his shield, the emblem of Astaire. A blue triangle with golden rings on each of the corners.
You've got two names? What are you doing down here with two names?
Someone's got to clean up the docks from scum. Smugglers, thieves, cutthroats. That sort of thing. Someone's got to keep the people safe.
Too bad you weren't around to keep my daughter safe, I guess. Boy, if you'd been there. Or do you just keep people from having a drink? Forget about things that have happened.
Don't drink so much. You'll forget everything else in life, too. If I had been there...
Maybe that's a point. Maybe that's a good idea.
come now, you gotta move forward with your life. Otherwise, you might as well just drown yourself in the canals out here. Faster and less expensive than drowning yourself in that booze of yours.
But if you'd been there, you would have jumped in after her and swam out and saved her?
I didn't say all that. I don't know where she was.
Do you even swim?
He pointedly ignores the question.
So you would have been sitting on the side, helpless, going, "Oh, well, there's a drowning child. I guess I'll go."
Maybe you should have taught your daughter how to swim if you were worried about her drowning, he says, and kind of gets up in a huff. Clearly incensed, like you've hit a sore spot for him. And he kind of storms off in anger and frustration.
Okay. I'll wait about a minute after he's left. I'll take out the 1 coin, the 1 copper, play with it a little bit. People should definitely learn how to swim if they don't want to drown. Okay. What phase of the moon are we?
Excellent question. My D30. We are on the 19th day of the cycle, so we are 5 days after a new moon. So we are in a waning gibbon. Gibbous? A waning gibbous, not a waning gibbon. That would be a very different thing.
Are these just more dragon names, Neil?
No, a waxing. I'm sorry, a waxing gibbous. The waning is getting smaller.
So this dragon is expecting to get lucky.
Wait, a gibbous is between more than half but less than full. So what is the less than half? Waning moon? A waning crescent. Okay, it's a waxing crescent.
It's pessimist.
It's a waxing crescent, not a waxing gibbous. My mistake. It's been a while since I've thought in moon talk. So it's a growing moon, less than half full. 5 days after the new moon.
A whinging gibbon. Okay. So it's less than half full.
Less than half full. Slowly getting more and more full.
So it's pessimistic.
No, it's getting more full.
It's a pessimist moon. It's less than half full, but it's getting more full.
Yes.
Okay, so it's an optimist.
Yes.
Is it? So what day of the cycle is it?
5. 5 days after the new moon.
All right, so it's an optimist prime.
Yes, it's an Optimus Prime. That is the cycle of the moon right now.
Okay.
It's not a Decepticon yet. It's an Autobot.
Well, the Decepticon part of the cycle is after the full moon, right?
Right, it goes full, and then it becomes the Decepticon for the next 14 days. And my Transformer lore is actually really, really bad. I haven't...
You were a GoBots kid, weren't you, Neil?
I was neither.
I could tell just by looking at you. You were like GoBots, and you thought they were cool.
I've never even heard of GoBots.
GoBots toys.
What are GoBots?
They were like... You know how... Did you ever get like those transforming toys where like they barely changed and they still kind of look the same even after the transformation?
Mm-hmm.
And they were stupid things like a motor scooter that just transformed into more like a motor scooter.
Right.
Yeah, those were.
So GoBot's like the Transformers knockoff? Like the cheap Transformers knockoff? It sounds like it.
Like the low effort Transformers knockoff.
Oh, wow.
You know, like when they do like a knockoff, but they like decide to make it focused on some kids that are friends with something.
And like the Star Wars prequels?
I don't know if I want to make that Vatican.
Okay.
Yippee!
Yeah. Let's forget that ever happened. That's a reason to drink.
Fucking midichlorians. Anyway.
Oh, we'll get to a murder today, I promise someone. Okay.
We haven't been drinking, I promise. I don't know what's going on.
It's literally just coffee. I mean, I know it's 4th of July, but it's only 12:30 here, so it's still just coffee.
Anyway, it's 11:30. I was like, crap, it's 12:30.
Mountain time.
All right, I got 30 minutes to take this guy
out. All right, Reginald Silver has left. Was there anything else you wanted to do this day?
Nope. I am just. You know what? I'm from this dock. I guess might as well start my examination. I am going to be looking over. Did he sit at the exact same place he did yesterday or the other day?
Yeah, there's a stool right here, and that seems to be his stool.
As if he was so married to order that he was entirely predictable.
The mantra of Astaire is what was it? The best thing for people in life is to have a framework within which they can thrive. Structure and organization paves the way for greatness. Preservation of order is paramount to success.
I'm sure being utterly predictable is not going to come back to haunt.
But imagine all the time he saves by having a set routine that he just follows all the time. He's going to be so good at that one thing he does.
You know what? You want to save time? You could save time by, after you do your laundry, you carefully take the socks out, match the right one to the right one, ball them up together so that each one has been carefully matched, and then carefully put them into your drawer, nice and organized, so that you always have a matching pair of socks.
Yeah.
Or you could just buy 20 pairs of the same goddamn exact socks and just throw them all in the drawer in any order. So at any point, you can just pull out 2 socks and you know they fucking match.
I think we know which method you follow.
Yeah, we really need to kill somebody. I'm getting there. I'm while I'm sitting here at the end of this dock, I am looking over at that dock.
Yes.
And I'm examining, are things, what are these planks like? How are they secured? Are they sort of like bound together with ropes? Are they nailed?
It looks like the boards are nailed into the understructure. The docks have all been here for a while, so they're not particularly new at all. That said, they've been here for a while and they're still standing, so they've got some structural integrity to them. And clearly the cleric in his heavy armor sits there all the time, and everything seems fairly solid. All just hammered together.
All right. So I'm just getting familiar with the general structure. I'm going to be taking a closer look tonight. All right. So after I feel like I've got structure down here, as best I can from this place, I am going to go back up to my room at the inn,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to take out some of the paper I had and some of the ink.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to draw here. I am going to sign it 3 times. I'm going to roll it up, tuck it inside my shirt.
What's it a picture of?
You'll find out if it becomes relevant.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that I can do that fairly well with the high dex.
Sure, you can draw. I mean, I don't know how good of a picture drawer you are, but you have paper and pen, so if it sucks the first time, you can try a second and a third.
And I'll head back down to the mermaid's kiss.
That same day?
Yeah, I gotta spend my time until it's night.
Okay. Anything in particular you want to do down there?
I'll just have a drink.
Sure. You're having a drink, and that same guy from this morning comes up to you, this time with another person, a young woman. And he says, this here is the fellow I was telling you about. You tell him about Scoria. And the young woman goes, Mister, is it true that you don't believe in dragons?
Yeah, I don't believe in dragons. Why do you?
Yes. A dragon burned my village down. I'm from Mistria, the next kingdom over across the canal.
You saw this dragon come down and burn your village?
Well, I was out of town at the time.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would be dead in the village, just like everyone else in my family.
Oh, so the dragon burned the village and killed everyone?
Yes, they're all dead. My
That's
whole
really-
family, the whole village, gone.
That's horrible. How do you know it was a dragon and not a band of marauders?
The next village over said that they saw the dragon. They saw it come and scorch everything down.
Oh. And you have good relations with that village? You never have conflicts over water rights or...
Are you trying to imply that my entire village was slaughtered by a neighboring village and they lied and made up a dragon to cover it? The same dragon? They made up the same dragon that's been ruling my entire kingdom for the last few hundred years?
The dragon rules your kingdom?
We didn't elect it, but yes.
And you've seen this dragon?
Not up close, but from a distance, I've seen it flying in the sky, yes.
Oh. What does it look like when it's up flying in the sky?
A large, red, scaly dragon. It's a dragon! How do you live in this world?
So you're looking up and you see in the distance a red shape in the sky, and you're like, that's definitely not a cardinal. No way that could be a cardinal. It must be a dragon.
My whole family was murdered by a dragon.
I'm sorry your family was murdered. That's horrible that your family was murdered. I just think it's kind of interesting that there were no witnesses except other people who said that, oh yeah, it wasn't us. It was a dragon. A dragon did it. It just seems to me like any time there's...
She makes a roll to hit you in the face, and it definitely beats your 14 AC and just slaps you across the face, stomps her heel on the ground, and turns and walks out. And the guy goes, Dude!
Look, I'm just saying, I get really tired every time someone is trying to cover up a crime. They're just it was 2 dragons came in and mugged me and stole the till.
Dude.
And that's why the money's gone. And it's always 2 generic dragons or a generic dragon or something, and people blame it on. And then it turns out they just made the whole thing up.
Dude. Come on, man. Her whole family.
I know, that's
horrible
what the village did to them.
You can't... You've really never heard about Mistria being overrun by a dragon.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I've also heard the story of the three goblins and the midwife, and I don't believe
all right, that's
that
it.
happened.
And he walks out.
I said, no, you know what? I said, I need proof. Look, I've got proof. And I pull out the picture and I show it to him. And it's a signed picture of the three-headed troll. I said, I've got proof. Where's your proof? Where's your physical evidence?
He's got no reply. He leaves. He's gone. Frustrated and angry at you. And I think we're just gonna skip to the next day, unless there's something you really want to do that night. Okay, to the night.
That's why I wanted to know that it was an Optimus Prime moon.
God, okay, it's an Optimus Prime moon.
All right, so once it gets late, and I think the moon is at its highest. Actually, not necessarily at its highest. I'm gonna go out and pay attention to where it is in the sky and its path and the best angle that it seems to be getting towards for its light to shine down under the dock instead of just being overhead and putting the dock in shadow.
All right, so
I guess when the moon is low on the horizon, but still...
Sure, we're here on the docks down in High Castle. So this kind of like section right here. I'm sorry, back in here. Now, moon's gonna pass mostly overhead. It's not gonna be too far in the south. So I don't think you're actually gonna get a very good like horizontal moon since we're in the canals of Arcadia, and they're about 180, 200 feet tall, sort of things. So we're not going to get, like, the moon down on the sea shining across and, like, illuminating horizontally. We're going to get some pretty steep angles here.
Okay. What I was hoping for, because I knew it was going to be perfect, but I was figuring that also light might reflect off the surface of the water, hopefully a bit.
Probably a little bit.
All right, so I am, and if worse comes to worse, I'm going to bring one of those candles that I bought before, and tinder, and I am going to, in the dark, well, how late is it when I feel like I've got the best light I'm going to get?
Probably not that late. It's probably around midnight, maybe a little bit before.
All right, well, that's good enough. So I am going to sneak down to the docks. I think I can just go kind of the way I did before. It's probably best. Pretty secluded. And I'm going to sneak my way under the house, which seems to extend over the water. For the docks, I will just have to get wet here. I'm going to keep the candle I'll have unlit in my mouth. I'll put the tinder. I'll just, I guess, get a scarf tied around my head and tuck the tinder up into there. Flint and steel, keep that dry. And I'm going to swim and move around under the house and under the dock as best I can and examine the structure under where the paladin always sits.
So how do you get down into the water?
Right over the place where I jumped before to get onto that dock.
Yeah, so you just like lower yourself down bit by bit into the water?
Yeah, so I'm going to scramble down, and then I'm guessing there's pylons that hold up to the tea shop, right?
Yeah. You'll actually notice that the pylons here don't extend super far down into the water. They're more like large floats. They just kind of like bob in the water, so the pylon only really goes down to the buoy floaty thingy below. You also have your gloves of swimming and climbing.
Interesting. I got those last episode.
Yeah. So that'll give you advantage on any swimming checks. Now you're trying to be quiet about this, right? You're trying not to attract any attention to yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I can move as slowly as I need to, and it's dark.
Sure.
And I've got the pylons and whatever structure there to hold on to. I don't imagine this stuff.
Right. Can you give me a athletics check for your swimming at advantage, of course? Just to see if there's anything that's gonna crop up, you know. Perfect. That's fine. So you can easily get from one pylon to the other and swim around until you can get underneath this one, and take a look at it.
All right. So I want to start examining the structure underneath. You know, I look over. I might climb up a bit on top of the dock. You know, but to get a good sense of, okay, he sits there on that. He's sitting on a box or a barrel, or is there a chair?
Stool.
Or
a three-legged stool.
Okay. I'm looking at the exact spot, and I'm looking around under the dock at the structure, how everything is held together here. And I'm examining this in, you know, is it the Thieves' Tools proficiency that I use to disarm traps? Or what is that?
Yeah, I would say Thieves' Tools would be used to disarm traps, but this isn't so much disarming a trap, is it?
Well, I mean, I was thinking this is like creating a trap.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to use the same sort of skills of figuring out how a mechanism works, but I'm trying to figure out how could I create a mechanism, or how could I, like, what would I have to change by how much? What things could I lower? So my thinking is, have you ever had those, and maybe even run into this in life, where you have, say, a board here, and it's resting almost like a pivot there. You know, maybe it's supported at these two places. So you're walking along totally secure. The board feels secure, and then you step past the pivot point. Oh no!
Right.
So I'm looking to see if there's anything that could be arranged, something like that, if I were to file down some nails until they broke.
Well, why don't you give me a perception check at disadvantage, because it is dark. I mean, it's not even quite a half moon even. You've got the best lighting you're gonna get, but it's still gonna be difficult. But give me a perception check.
Can I get rid of the disadvantage if I light a candle and cup it? And what I'm gonna do for that, because obviously that makes it a lot harder. Well, I mean, I
guess I don't know how you're going to light a candle with two hands, right? You don't have like a butane lighter. You're going to have to create like sparks with flint and steel or something, right?
I can, well, yeah. So what I was thinking is that's going to be kind of awkward since, actually I've got freaking gloves of swimming, but I guess that takes my hands. I was going to say a good water polo goalie.
You could,
which I might be the equivalent of with gloves of swimming, but is it only like really helping the swimming and not?
It's only helping with the swimming with the hands. But even if you were to tread water with just your feet, how are you going to hold a candle with one hand and create fire with the second hand? Doesn't it take two hands to create sparks?
I was going to hold the candle in my mouth. Like that. And I was thinking that maybe what I'll do here is like wrap my legs around one of the pylons to hold myself, which would be a little steadier than trying to tread water.
Okay, you might be able to do such a thing. I'm going to ask for another swimming check to light the candle. Failure means you can't do it, or you drop one of the ingredients or something that's so important.
All right, well, let's light this candle.
All right, you managed to get one leg wrapped around the pylon, the other leg to steady yourself, and and you get the candle going.
And I will cut my hand to block the light from going too far. I mean, it's a candle under a dock, unless someone happens to be on the dock.
Or out
I
in
don't know.
the water, out in one of the ships in the dock, walking around.
Yeah,
Fucking-
people don't really go sailing at night.
No, but there are still ships that are moored out there, and probably sailors that might be sleeping on them. Possible.
But from a distance, they know whether the light is from under the dock or in one of the houses.
I think that's
Dark.
pretty... Yeah, it's dark, which makes it easier to spot where the light's coming from. Right?
Well, they're just seeing there's some light in that
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that becomes if it comes up.
in all those shadows. Okay. Anyway, so I'm under the dock, try to protect the light. Can I just do a normal perception check now?
Sure. With the candle, you can just do a regular perception check. Very nice. You go ahead and you can examine the underside, docks and everything. Sure enough, there are some boards here that are not in that great of condition. There's no, like, pivot point where something's just gonna twist, but there are some boards that look like they are rotting a little. Maybe the right application, the right file in one place or another might cause the boards to break in the middle.
Well, I don't want any maybes. I want to make this an absolute as much as I can. So what I want to... So I'm looking this over, like, what kind of roll could I make to sort of find a good, the best spot to do this successfully, not just have it, like, fail because of bad luck or something.
Well, you tell me. What?
That's why I was thinking thieves' tools, if that's what's used to disarm traps. It seems like that would make sense for creating traps. But that's, I mean, I know it's not perfect, but that's the closest thing I can think. Is 5e isn't as super descriptive of skills in the same way that other editions.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Better, for better or worse.
Right, it's a lot broader. Go ahead, yeah, make me a thieves' tools check. See if you can disable the dock somehow. Oh, beautiful.
All right, so if there's a board that's, I'm looking for boards that are under the stool. Okay, and I want to weaken them, file out nails. If I feel that, like, the whole thing is about to collapse, then I will just take, like, a little bit of, maybe a little bit of nail that I've filed off and just sort of stick it in so it's just barely holding up the board. But when a 180-pound man in another 50 pounds of armor steps on it.
Right. So the red lines that I've drawn are the boards that are underneath this dock here, that the boards above it that form the walkway are attached to. They're about 10 feet apart and run parallel to each other. There's no center support beam that runs down the middle of this thing at all. So you can go ahead and do as you say and file it down. Are you filing down one of these horizontal boards, do you think? Or are you filing down like this board right here that connects the pylon to the tea shop?
All right, so let me zoom in for my own purposes a bit so I can see better. So it looks like the boards are probably precisely the way I would like them with this. Is this over here the stool?
Yes, that is the stool.
Okay. So he's going to come down those stairs, which are probably pretty secured, and then step onto these boards as he's going to his stool. And I want to with this red beam that goes across, I imagine it's secured to this piling over here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I weaken it there and there, it can collapse, and this entire spot will go down.
Yeah, this entire section right here. I don't know about these stairs. These stairs might be affixed in other ways.
Yeah, I'm imagining the stairs are probably set to the sides building, or just I was just imagining. I guess I don't have no reason to. Definitely.
Yeah. But that would definitely weaken this section, which, if it fell, would toss him right into the water.
And I'm going to. So can I rig this so that the board at these 2 points is only very weakly secured, and that when you add 250 pounds up on top,
with a 20 on a thieves tools, you can definitely weaken those boards. The real trick for you is to weaken them in a way that doesn't look like someone just took a saw to it and weakened it. You want to.
That's why I was trying to file nails, because that will be tougher to see. Like, oh, I guess the nail broke. I imagine that is this salt water?
Yes. Actually, this is brackish water. It's a mixture.
That's fine, because anything metal is, especially in a non-chrome plated medieval nail here, is going to get rusty.
Yep.
Just a crappy iron nail, and it'll be like, oh yeah, look, the nail was rusty.
Yep. All right. So you file it down. You get it.
So I'm kind of like, until I can feel like, okay, just even a little bit of pressure, this thing is getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you get it all set up and ready.
All right. And be interesting. Oh, cool! It moves around. I ride the boat to freedom. To a new day, a new life. Sophie. A new world awaits. So, this is so tempting. Where I want to be able to see this, really, just to watch him go down, but obviously I got to make sure that it works.
Mm-hmm.
So where can I be that is so far away that I don't attract, like, oh, he was suspiciously close? But yet I can see what happened. Maybe what is this building here? Is it another, like, there's no reason I would be sitting on the dock because that building.
Let's see, that is building number 9. That is the dock workers' dormitory. So that's kind of a cheap housing for people who work down here on the docks.
All right. I wonder if that's, I guess I can find out tomorrow morning if that's something that I could conceivably just come through and hang out on this dock. If not, then I can always sit on the end of this dock for more of my day drinking. Not as, which is still fairly far away, but at least it goes down or not. And so over there, while I'm underneath, I want to make sure there's no really obvious things that the person falling could grab for or themselves with.
Just the floating pylons. Or the floating buoys that the pylons are attached to. But if you fall below that, and those got mussels on the outsides and algae and kelp and moss growing on them, they're not particularly easy to catch. If you've ever seen the pylons under a pier or an actual dock, they're quite rough. But then, if they don't go all the way down, if they just go a few feet under the water as a flotation device, I think it'd be pretty easy to miss those things.
Okay.
Pretty difficult to catch on to them. Might be a better way of phrasing it.
I think maybe, God, this is a tough one. Is it better to be far away or closer to assist if it doesn't die quite so conveniently? See, this would depend on the how well this works would depend on if it was like 15 minutes into the movie or 15 minutes into the movie, it would work to show how skillful the assassin is. At the end of the movie, we need the dramatic climax. So, how much activity is there on these docks that I've seen?
During the day or at night?
During the day.
They're fairly busy. Oh, wait, did you mean this specific dock right here?
Yeah, these docks. Because since access to them is fairly limited.
Right, so this one is pretty quiet. You've only really ever checked it out during lunchtime when you've seen Reginald Silver come over here. And he's only ever been the one out here at lunch. You couldn't say about the morning or evening. You've never actually seen anyone hanging out on this dock. It's been empty every time. The rest of the docks, further to the either direction, are fairly busy. They're a little bit more... they're not so much like sit and look out at the world because it's a dock attached to my house. They're more of like, we're shipping... Something is landing here, tying up, and offloading supplies. This is one of the few sort of... I don't quite want to call it residential, but residential docks. This is housing for soldiers. This is housing for dock workers. This is sort of just like attached to a... This one might be used for bringing supplies in. This is a bit of a warehouse.
All right. What is... So these gloves of swimming give me advantage on rolls, or how do they work?
Yes, the gloves will give you advantage on swimming checks.
All right. And I'm assuming, like, just normal swimming, just not a roll, but doing something a little bit extraordinary probably is a roll.
Yeah.
How far underwater? Oh, does it increase my swim speed or anything?
No. Maybe?
Okay.
Let me double check. FG. Gloves of swimming. Your swimming doesn't cost you extra movement. So instead of swimming being half movement, it's full movement. So yeah, you can swim faster.
All right. Perfect. And so how far could I swim underwater? With,
how far do you need to swim underwater?
Yeah, so I'm asking for one check or without making a check.
Pretty far, I suppose. But it's been more than an hour. Why don't we take a break here and come back on the other side of our break with a little bit more assassin. See you guys soon.
Alrighty.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Assassin. We left when it was nighttime. We were down by the docks. We're looking for a spot to see where you could observe this guy from.
But you know what? I've decided that the best place to observe is from right next to him in case he needs a little help drowning.
Oh, you mean from where you're standing right now?
Some people just aren't good at drowning. So I would like to, what I'm going to look for then is a sack. Are there any sacks about that I could just kind of swipe anywhere near the docks or anything here, or do I need to go acquire one?
No, you'll need to acquire one in the morning. There's no empty bags just lying about.
All right. In that case, I'm going to take my cloak and I am going to fill it with rocks. Let's say about, I'm just thinking as a swimmer, this swimming in plate mail would be bad enough. But add on some additional weight and it becomes, I don't even know if this is redundant given the guy's plate mail. But just in case, I'll use my cloak as a sack. Put a good amount of rocks, but tie it tightly so that my cloak sack doesn't just accidentally pull open here. I want to make it fairly secure. And luckily I've got these gloves of swimming and I can always let go of this, but I'm going to have my tattered rope tied a good length of it leading off from the end of my new cloak sack here. And I'm still doing this at night. And I'm going to use, because these rocks would pull me down even with my gloves, I'm holding on to the structure underneath the dock. I'm sinking myself, and I'm going to find a good spot where, like, say there's a little beam that goes up, or like one of those angled joints where I can, using a slip knot, tie my sack so it's hanging ready should I need it.
Excuse me.
And at the end of that rope, so the rope is going up halfway off this lead line here. It's tied in a slip knot around one of these little joints so I can quickly pull it, and the end of it is made into a tightenable noose. One that, I mean, I'm assuming that as a rogue.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to do. My one question for you is, are you not concerned that if you attach rocks to him and he sinks to the bottom and someone does eventually recover his body, that they'll see he is attached to rocks?
Last I heard, this was like pretty bottomless.
It's a very deep canal. Yes, it's quite deep. It would be very difficult for someone to recover the body.
Yeah, I'm debating about that, whether it's... I mean, somebody else is going to have freaking gloves for swimming. So
right, or they might need, like, a water-breathing spell or something.
That's true. This is freaking D&D.
It is D&D.
Yeah, that might be a little obvious. I just might have to kind of help him drown manually. Would have been nice to slip that around his foot and drop into the depths if he did manage to grab onto one of the floats. Freaking 10 silver fine for tying up his boat.
Hey, the god of law and order is also the god of parking tickets. And they ain't a new thing. They've been around for a long time.
Alright, so I'm just going to stake out what looks like a good place here. I'm kind of examining everything, you know, getting used to the underside of these docks. place to hang on, and just scoping. I'm thinking having a place sort of under where the stairs are, where I'm close by. And since all of these are private docks, just to make sure I'm not thinking anything too outrageous, and I'm examining this potential path to see if there's any problems, what I want to see is, if I was here, it seems like I could swim under the dock, just be briefly exposed here, then swim underwater, because this water would be fairly dark and hard to see through, I would imagine. Go underwater from there, keep going under this dock.
Hold on, I'm losing you on the map. Let me know. Okay.
Okay. So swimming from the stairs here, I would be exposed here, but I could always go underwater. Then swim under this dock. Over to there, yeah. And this area up here seems like it is a little bit lower. It seems like it goes down in elevation.
The sidewalk stays level with everything.
Oh, okay. It looked like there was a bit of shadow, so...
Yeah, I think it's a little misleading, but the sidewalk is level the way across. A little bit further to the side, and you actually have a little bit of beachy territory. That would be the easiest to climb up on.
All right. Well, I'm not worried about climbing. I mean, I've got frickin' gloves that have that that magically do that. What I'm thinking about, this whole area seems like it's not as noticeable. It's somewhat protected from you.
Yeah.
Actually, even this frickin' area right here is a real alleyway. All right, what I'm gonna do then, just to finish my preparations, is I'll go back up to my room. I'll get all my clothes there would be dry. I'll get out of these wet things and into a dry martini. And I'll get some clothes that I'll stash down here. It seems like, am I correct in thinking there's really no way anyone's going to see these rocks, clothes that are hidden in these rocks, unless they go searching for them?
Okay.
Is that accurate? I mean, I'm looking around for windows that overlook it. I'm, making sure there's not a...
Let's take a look at first floor here. There's a window right here that overlooks this spot.
But someone would have to be leaning out that window.
Someone would have to be at that window, specifically looking down in that direction to see it.
And given that there's just the only view out that window is a wall, I'm guessing it's there. The window is there for a little bit of light, but nobody actually goes, I'd really like to check out the wall of the adjoining building.
That seems reasonable. And on the second story, there are no windows overlooking it whatsoever. Well, I guess this is sort of overlooking it, but still, that's the same sort of thing.
Yeah. So it seems like people would typically be staring out those.
Yeah.
And the dock workers were over here?
Yes, the dock workers were... This is their large bunkhouse.
All right. So I'm going to stash some clothes. They'll stay nice and dry. Are there tides in this canal, or is it...
Yes, there are tides that will fluctuate the same height as everyone else.
I account for the tides and stash the clothes above the high tide line.
All right.
So that there's no, they got washed away, or now they're all wet.
Sure. You stash your clothes there. You've weakened the dock over here. Sounds like it's time to go to bed.
I am going to go up to bed. So this is, what time is it by now?
I mean, you don't have a watch. It's late. There's, You can't really count hour by hour. That's a modern thing. Not since trains have we really had good record keeping of time.
Alright. So what I shall do... Are you going to make me, if I try to stay awake all night till lunchtime tomorrow, are you going to have me have minuses and anything?
No. Anyone can go a full night without sleep and still be functional the next day. At least any fictional D&D character can do that.
Yeah, I mean, not me in real life, but...
I'm sure you could if you really needed to, if it was important.
Alright. So I'm going to go back up to my room while it's still night. I will apologize to Sophie. I did not get you a fish. I promise it will be a magnificent fish for you tomorrow. But not just yet.
Sophie just sits with her back to you on a table. Looking somewhere else, anywhere else, but... Oh, are you even in the room? I'm not aware of it because I'm admiring the wall over here so much.
So I just want to let you know I'm aware of how unacceptable this situation is. I am going to be repairing it tomorrow. So there's no need to spell it out for me, say, on my pillow or in my shoe in a particularly feline way. I'm aware of it. Be a wonderful fish for you tomorrow. And if there's no little reminders left for me, fish perhaps. I'm going to take my dark assassin clothes, put those on, and I guess this is going to suck. Anywhere under these docks, was there a place where there was a pylon or something? You know what? Maybe right here it looks like there's a little bit of rock. It looks like that's a place I could sit and not be sitting in the fucking water all night.
Yeah, if you're going to stay out here all night long. Are you going to stay out here all night long?
Yes. So what I'm thinking is...
All right, you can pull yourself up on that rock and hold yourself there. It's going to be really uncomfortable, and you might get some cramps in your legs, but it's doable.
Okay, are there any places under the docks where there are rocks where I could sit more hidden in a little...
Yeah, give me an athletics or an acrobatics check to see if you can find a nice hidden spot that you can actually hold yourself in. Oh, beautiful. All right.
Why, so I can just put myself up in the ceiling, suspending myself between two beams with my two legs and arms. There.
And you can just stay there for all day long. Excellent. Okay, so you wait here. And you wait.
And I go over to pass the time. Since that is the guard building there, right?
Yes.
All right. So to pass the time, since I tried studying the guards before, I'm listening to the voices, trying to
it's nighttime, so they're asleep.
Yeah, but once it's morning and they're getting up, I mean, people.
Well, before we get to morning, we have a kink in the plan, something that was unaccounted for, and almost impossible to account for. Change in the weather, and while you're waiting for the sun to come up, there comes a light pattering of rain. It's a little heavier and a little heavier until it's a full-fledged downpour. And that's when the lightning starts going off. And you find that somewhere in the night, the clouds sort of came overhead and the moon went away and the rain came out, and now there's a storm.
If only I was a wood elf, I could hide behind rain. Apparently that's something they can do. But
can they hide in obscured vision?
They can hide in like natural obscurement, including, they specifically say, rain. I guess they like run from behind one drop to the other, one raindrop.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I like about Elven Rogues, that ability. So anyway, I guess it's going to be kind of miserable. Nobody ever said assassinating paragons of virtue on the docks was going to be easy. But I'll take my ups. Sitting there underneath the dock, waiting. Once they do wake up, to try to distract myself from my misery, I try to match the different voices that I hear to different, testing myself on my memory of the different guards, their mannerisms. I try to remember like the different sort of little catchphrases or things. They dollars get you donuts or whatever kind of stuff. They see if I've got them right.
Yeah, that's Maggie's catchphrase. She's one of the guards there, and that's what she says. Don't forget to count your donuts. It's an important phrase in her lexicon. One that really boils down to you should always count your blessings, but it's a little bit more fun and jazzy when you say, don't forget to count your donuts. A little bit more approachable and accessible for a modern person,
All right, so I'm doing that because who knows if I'll end up having to work on this map again. And it'd be good to have guard catchphrases down. And I'm listening to the voices in case I need to use their voices, especially.
So you're holding yourself underneath the docks, hoping the storm will pass. When you hear one of the guards on the inside say, "You won't believe the craziest thing that I heard over at the Mermaid's Kiss last night. There was some guy over there who was claiming that dragons aren't real. This guy was talking like they're a made-up thing, and people were bringing him all sorts of evidence. They were talking about the dragons in Mystria, the dragons over near Stromheim, the dragons over by Redport. Guy wouldn't believe in a single one of them. An eyewitness even showed up, and he denounced it to their face." And the other guards are all like, "Wow. God, usually sailors are a superstitious lot, believing in more things than there really are. I've never heard of a conspiracy theorist sailor who thinks that there's less things than there really are. It sounds... it just gets crazier and crazier every day." Yep. The storm continues.
Like I said, people remember the wacky thing. You know what I realized? You know why I never noticed that freaking painting? And this is, again, going to be part of my strategy for hiding things. I realized the reason I never noticed that painting that I walked by every day was because 12 inches below it was a fishbowl. And the fish always seemed to be on the verge of being dead. And so all my attention was drawn away from the painting to the fish. Like, is the fish dead? It's kind of floating on its side. Oh, no, fin moved. Okay. And that interesting thing, completely of a fish literally like that size, kept me from noticing a painting 3 fucking feet wide. That's going to be important for this campaign, I think.
Yeah. Half the day goes by and you're still under the stock. You've been under here all night, half the night and half the day now. I need you to give me another acrobatics check to see if you can keep holding throughout the rest of the day. Ooh, that's pretty borderline. I should have come up with a DC before you rolled that.
That's true.
Is there any way that you could have advantage on that check?
I've had all the freaking time in the world to go, God, this is kind of uncomfortable. Maybe I could find a little bit better place. You know what? This is a little bit better. I mean,
Yeah, but at the same time, you've been using those same muscles all night long, so I feel like those two probably cancel each other out. We'll leave it. We'll say DC 10's fine. You managed to continue holding yourself for the rest of the day. And it takes the rest of the day. The storm doesn't let up. Luckily, you're right underneath the dock, so you can kind of
Oh
turn
God!
up
Is he
and
not
like
gonna
lick the
have
dock
lunch
water.
outside?
No, he's not having lunch outside today, not in the middle of a rainstorm. But you're able to drink water by licking the docks and all the water that kind of seeps down through the cracks. You're able to pick up, so you might be hungry, but at least you're not thirsty. And the day passes with you underneath the docks, waiting for someone who has yet to come.
Once lunch passes and I realize he's not gonna sit out here, then it's time to go over here, change into my dry clothes. I'm not gonna stay down here getting cramps all day. But the whole point is lunchtime. And change into my dry clothes down here. Carefully climb up the rocks.
What do you do with your wet clothes?
I'm gonna put them in a bundle.
Mm-hmm.
Tie the bundle up with my cloak. Toss it over my shoulder.
Sure.
And I'll go back up to my room.
Sure. You head back up to your room and wait out the rest of the day.
Actually, no.
No.
I forgot something important. I go down to the docks.
Down to the docks?
Over here, the other docks, ones where the kids are.
Oh, you gotta go get a fish, huh?
I gotta get 2 fish. I look for the best fish.
I mean, it's raining. The kids aren't fishing.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, but doesn't that mean the fish bite more or something? I
am not a fisherman. I do not know these things. Do they bite more in the rain?
I don't know. I think that, there's always some superstition regarding fish. I'm sure. I don't know why the rain would mean they bite more. I can't imagine it would mean they bite less. Like, oh, I don't know. It's pretty wet out there with the rain. Not sure I want to go. If they think the little raindrops on the water are bugs hitting the water, I don't know.
I don't know.
Ah, man. So.
Yep.
Anybody out selling fish at all?
Sure, you can go to like a regular market and buy fish there. That's fine.
All right. I get 2 good fish.
Excellent. You get 2 good fish, bring them back to Sophie, who's maybe like mildly interested in the fish eventually, but is still alone in the room. There's still just her and these fish, and there's no one else here. Just me and my fish, which I guess are kind of fine. Sure.
I will, is there a fireplace in this private room that I'm paying a golden night for?
Take a look. No, there is a fireplace in the common room, though.
I'll actually ask the innkeeper, is there, those rooms with the view, the 3 gold pieces that I'm gonna, make a show of shivering. Those have their own fireplaces?
I'm sorry, sir, no. There's construction of this place is quite difficult since we're underground. There's only room for the one chimney because of the structures above. Only fireplaces out in the common room. And one in the kitchen.
Alright. So I will, it's completely, obviously it's raining, so I can go and at least try out the normal clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lay out my assassin outfit to be tried out.
Murder outfit. Black robes with a little bit of dirt on them, so it looks kind of dirty already and hides the bloodstains a little bit easier. Just pull out the secret weapon, make sure it's oiled and clean, and
black boxers with a bunch of skulls all over them.
Right. The Chris can come out and set over here, and the this and the that. Yeah.
Man plans God's laugh. Well, I'm going to, I guess, get some sleep. And when I come back after laying clothes to dry, is Sophie had any of the fish?
Yes, she's eaten the fish.
All right.
Oh, look, you're back, huh? How interesting.
All right, I'll tie something to a string and dangle it.
Yeah, she'll play with it.
Yeah, try to entertain Sophie for a little while before I go to sleep.
Right. You go to sleep and wake up the next day to a continued storm.
Oh, dear Lord.
Mm-hmm. Second day, and it's still out there raining. Pouring, really. Lightning, thunder, howling winds.
Maybe I'll be lucky and he just gets hit by lightning. And then I get credit.
All this planning, all this plotting, and he just gets like hit by lightning and dies.
And then I take credit for it.
Yeah. If only. If only. Alright. So what do you do that second day while it's raining? Anything?
Very frustrating. I will take a trip down to the Mermaid's Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to make sure that my dock crap has not accidentally been set off.
No, it seems fine. You walk past and you're able to glimpse down that narrow little alleyway there. Maybe you can't. Definitely can't see through that narrow little alleyway.
Yeah, I'll have to get onto the dock workers dock, I guess.
Yeah, you can get to a dock and take a look and see that it's still intact.
All right. I guess I will have to go. You know what? I might as well use this time productively. I'll go out in the rain. I'll bring my mug of beer. And I'm looking for this shack that I've been hearing about that Reginald lives in. 15 by 15 shack, I was told.
Yeah. So, well, each square is at 5 feet. What 15 by 15 shack do you think he might be in?
Are any kids out in the rain regardless? I mean, I know as a kid I loved to go out in the rain.
No, not so much. You know, their houses are leaky enough as it is, and getting dry is problematic enough that playing out in the rain is more of an inconvenience for these kids than a pleasantry. Also, you probably loved playing in the rain because it only rains like 10 days out of the year in Santa Barbara. It's a novelty whenever it happens.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Southern California, Orange County, so that's same difference.
So, yeah, same. Yeah.
I am not seeing so far any 15 by 15 shacks.
Give me a perception check.
Well, I was looking down the other way. I'm seeing maybe I was looking at the wrong side of the map. I saw one way on the other side of the map here, but your perception.
Yeah, there is one building on the dock that matches that description. It is this building right here.
That's the one I finally saw, yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't finished scrolling all the way to the side to see if
I see.
Alrighty. Lights on in there?
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's a little candle going. You can peer in through a window. And
Well, if there's a candle inside, I'm not going to peer in through a window because then I become obvious.
Well, I mean, I don't mean like this, but if the candle's inside, it's dark outside, that makes it a one-way reflection. So if you're here and he's there, you know, and it's light inside and there's a glass window, you can see it and he can't see out. The reflection glass. So you can see in and see him sitting at a table. He's got a cup of something, and a little table before him, and he's jotting down notes and writing and staring off into space and then writing something down.
depending on this weather, I might just. I had an alternate plan. I didn't want to have to do this with somebody in plate armor who's probably tougher than I am. Alrighty. So I am going to go to my room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to up there. First, I'm going to start writing out some journal pages. And I'm writing some journal entries, planning them out, dating them. A couple of entries going back. Say a month and a half.
Okay.
And I'm going to get information for this. I guess I'll sit. This seems like a wealthy-ish inn. I'm going to sit and listen for names. I'm particularly listening for names of what?
Well, I'm going to save you a little bit of time here because the storm only lasts for 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it does abate on the 3rd and calm down.
All right. Well, as a backup plan, I'm going to create this journal. I'm actually going to, you know what? I think probably the Mermaid's Kiss. I want to, and I don't think it'd be that hard to start a conversation about, you know, who's the prettiest woman down here on the docks.
Right.
And
Easy.
so I'll get that name, and that's going to be going into the journal entry I'm creating. And I am going to, I guess, during this storm, till it finally abates, go about getting empty bottles that, you know, holding liquor. If I have to buy a bottle of wine or something stronger, then I'll do that a couple times.
Sure. Easy peasy.
And I will wrap each of those in some cloth or, you know, articles of clothing so that they don't ding together and make noise in my pack. So that'll be my backup if I have.
Well, it is the 4th day total that you've been here. The sun is out. The rain has stopped. The docks are
must be dry by now.
Yeah, the docks are picking back up. Seagulls are about. Small repairs are being done on things that got damaged.
I want to get down to the docks. Well, most people seem to start like waking up and making breakfast even before it's fully sunrise.
Right.
So that they can go out and start working at sunrise. While it's still dark or not fully bright, I want to get down and position myself at the docks in my assassin clothes with the stash of dry clothes over there. And I'll just have my empty backpack all over there as well.
Okay.
For putting clothes in so that I'm not carrying around a bundle of them. Okay.
Okay. Done.
So I'm waiting under the docks.
Waiting under the docks. Waiting
For lunchtime to come.
Under the docks. Give me a stealth check to see how well you could slip down there in the morning unnoticed. Oh, wonderful. High rolls when it counts. So you easily find a way down there quietly in the pre-morning dawn or the early morning light and get yourself wedged into that uncomfortable spot again, waiting and waiting. And sure enough, lunchtime rolls around and Reginald Silver comes by the, what do we call that place? The Morning Glory Inn. That's its name. Claire, that's why I can't find him. You hear him inside talking with the innkeeper over there, or not the innkeeper, the tea shop maker, the tea shop person, ordering a new drink and talking about the storm last night and how it's the rain is always cleansing. It sweeps away all the dirt and cleans up the streets. It really makes the place shining. Sometimes I feel like I'm the rain, coming down here on the docks, cleaning up the dirt and making it clean and glistening for everyone. The tea shop owner says, "Oh, that you are, Lord Silver, that you are, making it a better place. Of course, of course." And he comes out here, goes to step on the docks, and goes
All right,
to...
I'm prepped now, fully. My prepped action is if this trap goes off, if he falls in, I'm ready to kind of push underwater, grab his feet,
Right.
or like try to pull his arms off if he manages to grab a float.
Pull his arms off. Just rip his arms right out of the sockets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or pry his fingers off the float.
Right. And he goes to walk down the staircase when there is a creaking sound and some boards begin to snap. And the boards fall. He tumbles backwards and kind of stays on the staircase as the section before him cracks and falls into the water. He scrambles backwards up the wooden platform.
He made his deck save.
Yeah, he makes his deck save and scrambles back onto this section of dock.
Can I help him?
Mercy me!
Can I grab him?
No, he's on top of the dock, and that little staircase there brings him a few feet above the lower dock. So he scrambles backwards as the area doesn't fall and break beneath him. And he says, "Mercy me by the light of a stair! Oh, the damage from that storm must have been worse than I thought." And he goes over to talk to the tea shop owner about the damage to the docks. So I guess
I bug out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to end here
Backup plan.
for this week because we're out of time. We will come back next week and try and come up with a backup plan because
backup plan is ready.
Well, we only have 1 minute to enact it.
So can't do it in 1 minute, but
can't do it in 1 minute.
Backup plan is ready.
We'll come back next week, and we'll see what Plan B or maybe Plan C or D holds, now that we've already established some things and figured out a little bit about our dearly beloved cleric, who's here just to make the world right and not,
And
give people ridiculous
and
fines.
silver out of people, yeah. We use the time so efficiently, I can't imagine how...
Yeah.
I mean, every moment it was as if we had laid it all out ahead of time to maximize the efficiency.
It was some of the most meticulous planning I've seen. It really reminded me of Ocean's 11 and just
tight.
So detailed and yeah. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Rob, do you have anything that you would like to say before we call it a day, before we head out?
Just a last shout out to our sponsor, M80, the other way to fish.
No, don't do explosive fishing. It's bad. Dynamite fishing is not good for your fish or for the other fish.
So Neil was fine with blowing your fingers off, but dynamite fishing is where he draws the line.
I'm okay with people... If people want to undertake reckless actions that could adversely affect themselves, go for it. I might think you're stupid. I might not agree with it, but knock yourself out. But if you take reckless actions that affect other people, including, animals, I have problems with that. But if you want to do something stupid where only you could get hurt, it's a free country, man.
So you're fine with...
Don't twist my words. Don't strawman me here, Rob. You know what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, putting a metal hook ripping through the face of the fish, them pulling it out in its agony for slow suffocation. That's good. But a quick, boom, concussive death.
Well, you're clearly not representing the argument well, because if you use explosives to fish, you're not... First off, many of the fish won't come to the surface, they'll sink. So you're killing tons of fish and only harvesting a few. So it's very indiscriminate and wildly inefficient. That's the problem. If it was just a single fish in a fishbowl and you wanted to kill it with an M80, that's fine. But it's the sort of like mass slaughter and damaging of large amounts of fish to only collect a few that's the problem. It's the inefficiency.
All right. So I guess that's where we'll leave out on is Neil had just endorsed dropping M80s into fish bowls. Have fun, kids.
Kids, don't use explosives, and if you do, use parental supervision. Don't lose a finger. It's dangerous.
Were you supervised with explosives as a kid, Neil? In Texas? I think we were.
My memories are pretty spotty, but they were... My
Did
friend
you have
was
fun with explosives?
I think so.
I'm guessing you weren't parentally supervised.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, probably not. Texas.
Fun is usually not parentally supervised.
Just be careful with your fireworks today, everybody. And for the rest of the world, don't worry about it. That's it for Assassin. I think D&D Beyond has a show coming up next, or maybe that starts next week. I'm not sure. Obo Crazy in chat will tell you all the details because she knows everything.
Everything?
She knows everything, Rob. Really. You should check her out.
Does she know who has the other half of this amulet?
We'll find out next week on Assassin. See you guys later. Bye-bye, everyone.